Hello and welcome back to another video. It's me, Lumen, and I'm here to tell you that No Rest for the Wicked is too good to play. Yeah, that's it. Clickbait title, clickbait intro. Jesus, this guy YouTubes. Oh, I've got them now. Now they have to watch the whole video until the last 5 seconds, until they can hear why it's too good to play. Genius. Except no, I'm actually going to tell you right now. So, yeah, I've played a bit of No Rest for the Wicked. I'm going to quickly just tell you what the game is, and then I'll tell you why I say it's too good to play and why you should actually not be playing it. Right? Give me a second. So it's a visceral, precision, action RPG that's set to reinvent the genre, and I'm going to jump back to that single point right there a bunch in this video. Reinvent the genre. Ridiculous, preposterous notion. Moon Studios, what is this shit? Well, turns out it's actually kind of true. I'm not even joking. I didn't think that anyone that made a claim like that could actually back it up. It's ridiculous. Like, people, they say this kind of stuff all the time, and no, just no. Well, this time seems to be the exception. All right, we'll get to that as well. The game features a handcrafted open world with the coolest art style that you'll ever see in a video game. It's like this concept art or painting come to life. It is phenomenal. It looks great in motion. It looks great up close. It looks great all the time. The game has a dark and mature story that I've seen a little bit of, and I've loved. It has been phenomenal to see the characters, the cutscenes, everything basically unfolding. I have a little bit to say about that, but we'll get to that when we get to that. There's crafting, there's gathering, there's housing, there's set to be multiplayer co-op, and a whole lot more. If you want to do that deep dive that I usually suggest you do, there will be some links below so you can check them out. But now, before I jump into talking about the specifics, the gameplay, the visuals and the sound, the story, and then like my impressions and overall thoughts, and also the improvements I'd like to see, before we get to that, I will just say this game is too good to play right now. And my reasoning behind that is pretty simple. I personally do not want to spoil a second more, any more than I've already spoiled. I have had so much fun in the bit that I've played. I've played maybe 6 hours, okay? I explored. I got lost. I died a bunch. I fought a boss that was kind of scary. I encountered a bunch of characters. I found the big city. I don't know if it's the big city. I found the first town and or fort and settlement, and it was awesome. Every step of the way, I was enjoying myself. I was struggling, but I was having fun. I was fully immersed. However, I could see that we were still in the early days of this game's life cycle. I could see that there was still stuff that needed to be worked on. The performance was not great. There were a couple of bugs. The balance was a little off here and there. I think that the pacing needs a bit of work, but regardless of all of that, this is probably one of the coolest games that I've played in a long time. And I can just tell right now that whichever year this game releases on, so if it releases this year, maybe at the end of the year or next year or whatever, it's probably going to be the game of the year for me. For all the reasons I've mentioned now, and most likely even more on top of that, it just seems like such a fantastic combination and such an awesome breath of fresh air, I would say. An awesome change in direction for the genre that they've put it in. It's phenomenal. And I believe that right now, if I play it, I spend too much time in it, I could possibly spoil my future experiences. I believe that right now, this game already seems like it is too good. It's just, I don't want to deprive myself of that spark, you know? That initial jump in, that new world to discover. I don't want to grind away at the game as it is right now when it's not complete. I want to give Moon Studios a little more time. I want them to let it cook. I want this game to chill for a little while. I want them to fix everything up, get it right and ready for me and the rest of the player base. And then I want to jump in and I want to experience this masterpiece in its entirety. That's why I feel like it's too good to play. I feel like that this game deserves your attention when it's done. And that said, buy it now. Jump on. Get it. Play it a little bit. See what I'm talking about. And then save it. Put it aside. Be like, yeah. That's the one. That's an experience I cannot wait for. Oh, that's what I'm going to do. I am so excited. I don't know when it's going to release. I've looked at their roadmap. There's no real word on when they want to get this game out there. They're going to sort of take it as it comes. But this is one of those games where, much like Baldur's Gate 3, I believe that the early access is going to build it up to something that is just going to be beyond any expectations most people have. So yeah, guys, no rest for the wicked. Let it cook. Let it just bake in the oven a little longer, man. Let them do their thing. Let them hone that vision of theirs. And then come back when it's ready. It's too good to jump into it right now. For real. Trust me on this, okay? Trust me on this. Save that experience for when it's finished. That's what I wanted to say. You can close the video now if you want, but I've got a lot more to say. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about the gameplay. It's a very interesting topic because they kept saying, oh yeah, reinvent the genre. They were like, oh, this is something complete. I was like, nah, boo-hi, dude. That's not gonna mean shit when I actually jump. This is gonna be the same as all the other. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. This kind of feels like a Souls-like in terms of the difficulty, but it doesn't punish you like a Souls-like punishes you. So you actually get in the best of both worlds. You know, in Diablo, in Path of Exile, in Last Epoch, in these games, you know, you get to feel strong and powerful. You get to clear the map like a death machine in like 5 seconds. That's its own thing. You know, in the Souls-like games, they let you really work. They let you sort of learn every in and out of every fight. They really make you appreciate the victories. And with No Rest for the Wicked, I feel like they've found this like really safe space in between the two, where you have the satisfaction of an action RPG where it's not punishing, where you can feel powerful and cool, but then you have the difficulty and the learning curve of a Souls-like. So they don't punish you when you die. The mobs don't all respawn. I know there was a durability thing where you lost a bunch of durability, but they've already walked that back. They've already said, oh, that was too much. We've already made it easier. So you lose some durability on your gear, but the mobs don't respawn. You don't have to go and clear out that entire route. So like you want to do a boss run, you're busy fighting the boss, but there's like 4 mobs in between. You don't need to worry about that. You kill the mobs once, and then that space is open. But here comes the reinventing part. There's actually a twist. So you clear the whole map, it's all clear, you've uncovered all the fog of war. But then after a certain time, or at a certain point, then the fog of war sort of starts creeping over again and the zone evolves. It changes. New mobs spawn, different types. The whole setup gets mixed up. There's new loot, there's new stuff to find there, right? And that's so cool because you get the bonuses of procedural content and longevity, but you get it on top of a foundation, which is a handcrafted world, which is just inherently so much better than a randomly generated one. So they've managed to gel the two together. And like those 2 points alone, right? To me, that's a reinvention of the genre. That's something brand new. Let's not even talk about the goddamn visuals and the sound and all the other cool stuff that they have there. Those 2 things alone, to me, they are enough to make that one line, that ridiculous line, set to reinvent the genre. No, that's enough to make it true. And I love that about it, man. So they've actually managed to take it, make it feel as challenging, as difficult, as satisfying as a Souls-like, but they don't punch you in the gut every time you die or make a mistake. There are still some things that need to be like smoothed out where that's concerned, but it's phenomenal the way they've put it together. And yeah, man, that handcrafted world, it feels awesome every time you jump in there. I love it. There's so much to discover. There are so many secrets. The exploration is always rewarding. It is so cool. And then let's not even get started on the visuals yet. I'm waiting for that. There's still so much to say about that. I played the first part of the game. I played probably about 6 hours in total, maybe 5 hours. And it was enough for me to say, yeah, this is too good. I can't do it now. I have to wait. I went through the whole starter zone, basically. I missed some pieces here and there, but I made my way to the first boss, and I really enjoyed the first boss. Then I got into the city, and I saw some cool cutscenes there, met some cool characters there, and it was just, yeah, man, it was a thumbs up. It was really, really, really nice. It was some of the best immersion that I've ever experienced in a game. I also loved the way that they handled the weapons and the inventory and stuff like that. I did struggle a little bit picking and choosing stuff because I sort of ran out of space, but that was soon rectified when I got some storage space at the town. But I loved the way they did the weapons. I actually ended up playing with a hunting dagger and a bow. And it's so cool with my character running around with a bow in the one hand, a dagger in the other hand. It's an interesting combo that I never thought I could use. Because you can combine the two, and then you have abilities with the bow and abilities with the dagger, and you can do like quick successive attacks with the dagger, then you can jump back, pew 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 with the bow. It feels so cool with their focus system, where you got different abilities on each of the weapons, and then obviously different weapons have different abilities. The whole combo felt awesome. Then they also took the sort of weight class system with like the fat rolls versus the quick rolls, and they applied it to the game in my opinion, a pretty fun and meaningful way. It works quite well. I found that having the quick dodges, the quick rolls, felt way more satisfying in most cases. Again, I was using the bow so I could put distance between me and the enemies the whole time. The whole thing, the whole experience just came together so nicely, and I had a blast. So yeah, the gameplay was just like completely thumbs up. I struggled. I was lucky enough to take the first boss out on like 2 tries. The second try, I only died once, and then I went in back there again. Like I sort of honed the tactic that I was going to use. I cheesed a little, but I killed it quite easy. But I thought it was good. I have some talking to do about that, though, about the pacing where that's concerned, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. First, I just want to talk about the visuals and the sound a little bit. So this whole concept art come to life style that they chose to go with, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, I can say, oh yeah, that's Moon Studios, because I can like see the similarities between No Rest for the Wicked and the Ori games, where they have this constant motion, where they have this deep style, where there's so much more than you first see. And man, the characters, the models that they chose to go with, the world itself, and then on top of that, on top of the world, the dynamic day, night, and weather. Oh, jeez, man, it's legitimately probably the best game that I've seen in terms of visuals in a long time. I realize it's not for everyone. Not everyone likes a painting or a piece of concept art come to life, but you can still appreciate the splendor of it, the beauty of it, the way that they've put it together. And I mean, like, all of it is dynamic, and I think this is something that a lot of people seem to mention a lot, like, because you see it. It's something that stands out. It's like when you're fighting in the rain, then the rain's dropping off your character and you swing in the weapons and stuff, and there's these trails of water that, like, go after the weapon. And, like, when you shoot a projectile, you can see it cutting a path through the rain. It looks so good with the dynamic lighting attached to that. And then with all the little nooks and crannies you can explore in the world, the visuals just make it such a treat, dude. Like, it's amazing. And how you go from the indoor areas to the outdoor areas, caves, underground, stuff like that, it all just ends up being magical. And one of the most impressive parts that I thought was, like, you're watching this game from this top-down perspective, but then it zooms in, right? And it shows you the cutscenes in engine. And it looks like you're watching a goddamn movie. I felt like I was watching Arcane, you know, from League of Legends, Netflix. That's how good it looked. I cannot. And it's the models, it's the art style itself, everything, the way it looks in motion just comes together so beautifully. The sound design, the way everything, like when you're moving through the world, the way it all comes together, phenomenal. So cool. Everything about the visuals and the sound, it sucks you right in, and it holds you there. You're just stuck there, right? You're just stuck there. I can't say enough good about it. I cannot. I know that there are some divisive parts, like some people don't like the characters, some people don't like a few of the things that they've done, but I think everyone can agree that it's an impressive thing, which unfortunately means that at this point the performance is kind of terrible, but they're working on that. I think that even with the first like hotfix patch they applied, it already got like better. I've got like 15 FPS more than I had before, but yeah, I could talk for probably an hour about the art style, the characters, and everything else surrounding that. I don't want to do that, though. I don't want to keep you here all day, so instead I'm just going to say it's so good. The story, the bit that I've experienced so far, yeah, it's been kind of interesting. It's been kind of cool. My one complaint is that you get like a injection of story at the start, but then you're sort of left on your own. And I do feel like the game doesn't direct you quick enough to where you need to go. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute, but I will say that the characters and stuff we've seen, the bits and pieces of the story and the world and the lore that they've attached to it, super cool. Really nice. I like the way that they've gone with the direct storytelling with cutscenes and dialogue and stuff like that, and then also the passive storytelling and world building that the Souls-like games have. There's a nice mix of the two, and yeah, man, like when you see those cutscenes, it all feels so special. It is, you know, it's really quite something. I'm very, very excited to jump in when it's finished. I don't want to spoil it now, so I'm going to stop where I stopped. As I mentioned, I got to the first city, I met some of the big characters, you know, and the story kicked off there, and it was definitely dark, it was definitely mature, and I'm so excited to see it, man. So yeah, I don't want to say much more about the story without spoiling stuff. It might be a little difficult, so what I'm instead going to talk about now is just what I feel needs to still be changed or fixed up or whatever. Now, keep in mind, I've only played a bit of the game. I haven't seen what it's like to have a high-level character. I haven't seen all the areas in the game. There's a lot that I just decided not to jump into, but from my first little bit in the game, I think the number one thing is that I would love to see my character in the cutscenes. That's one thing I would just absolutely adore. I spent some time on my character. I made a character I really liked. Okay, wait. So, like, I usually make characters I really like. This time around, I wasn't super happy with it, but the idea remains. Usually, I love the idea of seeing my character. One of my favorite things about Diablo 4 and its main story, and that, by the way, is my favorite part of Diablo 4, the story and everything that comes with it. One of my favorite parts was how they actually put an emphasis on your character, on you as the hero, and showing you and your character in this journey. You got to see up-close shots of your character constantly, and it was so cool. That's what I'd like to see in No Rest for the Wicked. I think that would be one of the biggest things. Now, maybe there are cutscenes further on where they could have shown your character and I didn't see it, but there were 3 or 4 cutscenes at the start of the game in the bit that I played where I truly felt like, because my character was standing there, they just never showed it. I saw my character standing there in the cutscene, but they just never like showed, zoomed in, nothing. People like seeing themselves. They like seeing what they made, what they worked on, what they've got as a character in the cutscenes. The engine is set up for it. Do it. Show us in the cutscenes. Even if it's just us silently nodding or looking grim or looking scared, terrified at a betrayal. Anything, you know? Just show us in the cutscenes. That's it. That's the number one thing I'd like to see. Number one thing. Number one. Number 2 thing is probably a few things that could change in the character creation system. I mentioned this in my character creation videos, but I'd very much like to see it if they could simplify things a little bit and also give all the face options in character creation to all the different templates. So the way it works right now is you have presets in the character creation system, and each preset has 5 different faces or 6 different faces on that preset, but they're not available on the other presets. So you have to sort of pick and choose, and you don't get all the markings and the tattoos and stuff like that on all of them. So either they need to make tattoos, markings, and scars a different section entirely, and then they can apply it on all the faces. That would be fine. Or they need to just make them all available to all of them. I realize with this art style it might be a little finicky, but they can figure it out, I'm sure. And then on top of that, I really think that you need to have control over the skin tone. Like, as an example, the females only have 1 dark skin tone. The rest are all light. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. You need to put skin tones on all the characters. That would make people feel way more at home and allow them to be more attached to their characters because they could make what they actually wanted. One final thing I think is that they could also give a little bit of control over the body, if that's possible. I love the body shape that they went with, but not everyone seems to like it that much, so that would be cool. Then, after the character creation stuff, I'd like it if they front-loaded the story a little bit. I would like it if they said, at some point, you know, you meet this guy on a bridge dying and he sort of leads you in the right direction. He's like, oh, go to the camp, go to the city, speak to someone. And then you're like, okay, man, whatever. Then there's like a quest marker, like, way on the other side of the map. That's not good enough. So basically what happens is you start on a beach and then you are sort of not clueless, but you're just left on your own. And I feel like they should fast track that. I feel like to hook people and to curb the amount of frustration that could occur, they should allow fast tracking of the main story if people want it. Now, there's a weird sort of balance that would need to be struck there, because if you fast track the main story, you'd be fighting the boss really early on, and that might be a real tough situation. But what they could do is they could allow story reasons for that to work better, like people to help you on the first boss, like, you know, you could be struck down, and then maybe if you're struck down, then another character will come and help you or something. The main thing I'm trying to say, and the main point I'm trying to make, is that it would be cool if they front loaded the story a little bit, or at least pointed the characters, the players, in the direction of it early on, because I felt like we got a little bit of cutscene stuff at the start. It was really cool, and then we got dropped in the world, and then it feels like a Souls-like. You lose any attachment to the story really quickly because you spend 16 hours running around the wilderness, chopping trees down and mining ore and fighting random mobs. So it would be cool if they changed the pacing up a teeny bit at the start, or at least just said to players like, go, go, go. You know, if they did that, that would be nice. That would be like a really nice improvement. In terms of balance, I'm not going to say much about that. The final thing I will say is that the performance obviously needs to be fixed up. It chugs. The game chugs. The game, it's struggling at the moment, but I know they will fix that up, and I know that'll eventually come. That's the only other like criticism I have. Overall, I just had a phenomenal time in the game, and I don't want to ruin it by playing it now. That's it. It's like on my wish list, and it's right at the top. Yeah, that's basically how I feel about it. and I'd love to hear from you guys where you are, what your thinking is, where it's concerned. I realize the game's not for everyone. I had a blast playing it. I thought the difficulty was nice. I thought the world was amazing. I thought the visuals were phenomenal. I just had a really, really, really good time overall. And I cannot wait. So if you guys feel the same, let me know. If you had differing opinions or experiences in the game, yeah, share that too. Any of it. I want to hear it all. And thank you so much for listening. My little talk on why the game is too good to play. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy it if you are still playing it. I hope you guys are excited, like I am, to play it when it finally releases, and all the rest. Happy that.